A plane crash doesn't start with impact. It starts with one small thing going wrong, and then everything happens fast. In this video, you're watching real aviation moments caught on camera, the sudden failures, the split-second decisions, and the desperate attempts to make it back on the ground. I'll walk you through what you're seeing, keep it clear and respectful, and highlight the details most people miss the first time. If you're here for real footage and real lessons, you're in the right place. Let's begin. On April 18, 2019, a Beechcraft B-60 Duke crashed shortly after takeoff from Fullerton Municipal Airport in Fullerton, California, and the pilot was fatally injured. The NTSB determined the crash was caused by the pilot's use of an unapproved elevator control lock device and failure to remove it and correctly position the elevator before flight, which led to a loss of control during takeoff. On September 3, 2022, a Piper PA-28140 was substantially damaged during a touch-and-go at Wadsworth Municipal Airport near Wadsworth, Ohio, when the engine lost total power on the initial climb and the airplane came down hard and impacted the runway adjacent area. The pilot and passenger were not injured. The NTSB determined the probable cause was a total loss of engine power for reasons that could not be determined based on the available information. On May 25, 2023, at Savannah Hilton Head International Airport in Savannah, Georgia, a Cirrus SR-20 was damaged when its nose landing gear collapsed during landing while the pilot was practicing touch-and-go landings, and the pilot was not injured. The NTSB listed the probable cause as the failure and collapse of the nose landing gear during landing. On August 21, 2019, a Cessna 560XL ran off the runway during a rejected takeoff at Oroville Municipal Airport in Oroville, California, and the airplane was destroyed by a post-impact fire while everyone on board escaped without injury. The NTSB determined the crash sequence was caused by the pilot failing to release the parking brake before attempting takeoff, which created an unexpected retarding force and a nose-down pitching moment, and the crew's delayed decision to abort contributed to the runway excursion. On December 29, 2020, a Beechcraft 95B-55 was substantially damaged during landing at Westfield Barnes Regional Airport in Westfield, Massachusetts, United States, and the pilot was not injured. The NTSB determined the probable cause was the pilot's failure to maintain control during the landing and failure to confirm the landing gear was extended before landing. On August 27, 2022, a Beechcraft B-35 was destroyed at French Lick Municipal Airport in French Lick, Indiana, after an unstable nighttime landing when the airplane veered off the runway, lifted back off, and struck trees, killing the pilot. The NTSB determined the probable cause was the pilot's failure to make a stabilized approach, which led to a loss of directional control during landing. On June 2, 2012, at Rocky Mountain Metropolitan Airport near Denver, Colorado, a Schweitzer 269C helicopter entered ground resonance after the pilot set it down from a low hover when an airplane began taxiing in front of him. The NTSB determined the cause was inadequately overhauled landing gear dampers, with additional contributing maintenance and oversight issues. On August 3, 2024, near South Park, Indiana, an Aviat aircraft A1C-180 amphibious float-equipped airplane lost control during a water takeoff, pitched forward as the floats dug in, then rolled left and nosed over after the left wingtip struck the water. The NTSB determined the probable cause was the pilot's failure to maintain airplane control during takeoff. On July 24, 2021, a SIAI Marchetti SM-1019B crashed shortly after takeoff from Lewiston, Nez Perce County Airport in Lewiston, Idaho, and the pilot was killed. The NTSB determined the cause was the pilot's failure to remove the flight control lock before departure, which led to a loss of control and impact with terrain, with an inadequate pre-flight inspection and flight control check contributing. On June 28, 2022, near Vancouver, Washington, a Beechcraft V-35B Bonanza crashed while returning to Pearson Field and turning from the base leg to final approach, and the pilot was fatally injured. The NTSB determined the probable cause was the pilot's decision to execute a steep turn to final, which exceeded the airplane's critical angle of attack and led to an accelerated stall, with improper base leg positioning and the decision to continue the approach contributing. On October 19, 2024, at Aero Estates Airport near Belleville, Illinois, a Ryan Navion A was substantially damaged after it became airborne in a nose-high attitude, settled back onto the runway, and bounced hard during the takeoff roll. The NTSB determined the cause was the pilot's failure to maintain airplane control during the takeoff, and investigators found no mechanical anomalies that would have prevented normal operation. On May 26, 2023, at Palm Beach County Park Airport in Lake Worth, Florida, a Cessna 172P crashed shortly after takeoff during an instructional flight, killing the flight instructor and student pilot. The NTSB determined the cause was maintenance personnel failing to detect a corroded aileron control cable during recent inspections, which allowed the cable to separate and led to a loss of control during takeoff. On August 27, 2020, near Fairbanks, Alaska, a Cessna 185 on final approach and a Piper PA-18 departing the same runway collided in mid-air at Chena Marina Airport. The NTSB determined the probable cause was the PA-18 pilot's failure to see and avoid the Cessna 185 as it was landing, and a contributing factor was the PA-18 pilot's failure to hear the traffic advisory provided by the air traffic control tower. On May 28, 2015, in Horseshoe Bay, Texas, a Raytheon G-36 Bonanza crashed after takeoff from Horseshoe Bay Resort Airport and was destroyed by a post-impact fire, and the pilot was seriously injured. The NTSB determined the cause was the pilot's failure to abort the takeoff after a partial loss of engine power before liftoff, and the partial loss of engine power itself was for undetermined reasons. On May 2, 2022, at Bluegrass Airport in Lexington, Kentucky, an experimental amateur-built Zenith CH-750 cruiser was damaged during landing after it bounced, rolled side to side, and a wingtip struck the runway. The NTSB determined the probable cause was the pilot's failure to maintain directional control during landing. On March 8, 2024, at George Bush Intercontinental Airport in Houston, Texas, United Airlines Flight 2477, a Boeing 7378, had a runway excursion while turning off runway 27 onto taxiway SC, and the left main landing gear separated after the aircraft left the pavement and struck a concrete electrical manhole in the grass. Based on NTSB performance analysis, the excursion followed insufficient deceleration on a wet surface and a developing deviation from the runway centerline just before the attempted turnoff. On December 16, 2020, at Heber Valley Airport in Heber City, Utah, an experimental gyroplane crashed shortly after takeoff and the pilot was fatally injured. The NTSB determined the cause was the pilot's failure to follow the takeoff procedures in the Pilot Operating Handbook, which led to a loss of control and impact with terrain, and the pilot's lack of additional gyroplane training contributed.
Oh shoot, oh shoot.
I think that's for you.
Dang, you see he's full right rudder. Holy crap, he's going down.
Dude! Oh my God.
On July 8, 2022, near Cleveland, Georgia, an experimental Kolb Firestar 2 crashed shortly after takeoff from Mountain Air Park during a soft field takeoff attempt, and the pilot was killed. The NTSB determined the probable cause was the pilot's failure to maintain control of the airplane on takeoff for unknown reasons. On May 23, 2021, at Lincoln Park Airport in Lincoln Park, New Jersey, a Piper PA-28-180 was substantially damaged when an aborted landing in gusty crosswind conditions led to a runway excursion and impact with trees, and both occupants were uninjured. The NTSB determined the probable cause was the pilot's loss of directional control during the aborted landing in crosswind conditions.